What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Mikey McNuggets here as the Cavs are about 90 seconds away from falling into a 0-2 hole against the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham is taking over late. The Cavs trail 103-95 as Donovan gets fouled and is going to shoot free throws here to try and cut the deficit down to 6 points. But the Cavs had taken a lead here in the fourth quarter. It was 83-81. Detroit called a timeout, and since that timeout, Detroit has been the better basketball team. I'm going to save some of my big picture thoughts and analysis on what we've seen tonight in Game 2 until after the final buzzer sounds. Until then, it's going to take a miracle here from Cleveland. I'm not sure if Donovan's shooting 2 or 3 free throws. He was kind of in that in-between area as Ausar Thompson picked up his 5th foul. Don makes the first one to cut the deficit down to 7, 103-96. Don's been really good tonight. He's been really good. He's about the only one who's been really good. Jarrett Allen had a solid game too. Outside of those two, I'm not sure you could look at anyone on Cleveland and say, yeah, that guy played well as Donovan hits another free throw. Cavs down 6, 1:16 to play. Just a 2-possession ball game. Cavs need stops. Donovan has 31 points, 11 of 24 from the floor. The Cavs have Harden, Mitchell, Strus, and both bigs out there. Dennis Jenkins running the operation here for the Detroit Pistons. Shot clock winding down. Jenkins is going to take a tough fadeaway in the lane. It's blocked by Max Strus for a shot clock violation. Yeah, they're going to say that Ausar Thompson 3 came after the shot clock. They're going to negate that. Cavaliers ball down 6, 103-97, 51 seconds to play. As I take a look, and yeah, the ball was still in his hand as the shot clock expired. There's going to be 52 and a half seconds to go, down by 6. If you're the Cavs, you don't need a 3. You do not need a 3. You need a quick bucket here. And it's a review, so you're going to get a chance to go into a huddle, draw up a quick little sidelines out of bounds play here. Or I guess they'll probably get the ball into the basket. You can draw a quick hitter here for, I assume it'll be Donovan Mitchell. James Harden's given you absolutely nothing in this contest. For the second straight game against the Detroit Pistons, I cannot imagine a world where Kenny Atkinson goes to James Harden in this situation. The ball has to be in 45's hands. It has to be on Donovan Mitchell to make a play here. I know it's asking a lot of a guy who's had to carry the majority of the offensive load tonight. He has 31 of Cleveland's 97 points, but he's Donovan Mitchell. He's an all-NBA player. He's an MVP candidate for a reason, and these are the moments that you need a Donovan Mitchell. The ball gets inbounded to Harden. Harden operating against Tobias Harris, and Harden's going to take it himself, dumps it off to Jarrett Allen. Back to Harden, so they're wasting too much time here. Now you're in territory where you kind of need a 3. And Harden loses the ball. Oh, he lost the ball. Ausar Thompson got the turnover. James Harden dribbling into nowhere, turns the ball over. His 4th turnover of the game. Unbelievable. I do not understand why you go to James Harden in that situation as opposed to going to Donovan Mitchell. I do not understand. Harden tried to get a step back. Good help from Ausar. He gets a hand in, rips the ball away. And that is most likely the end of the Cavaliers' comeback chances. With that turnover, James Harden now has 3 made field goals and 4 turnovers, on pace to be his 30th career postseason game with more turnovers than field goals made, extending his NBA record. That is not a record you want to have. The Cavaliers foul Cade Cunningham. He's going to get 2 free throws here. Just an absolutely disgusting offensive possession. No ball movement. No nothing. I don't know why the ball's not in Donovan's hands. I don't know why you're going back to James Harden, who's given you nothing in this game. I do not think Kenny Atkinson has particularly had a good series. I do not think he's had particularly a good game. I would say that coaching advantage thus far has gone heavily in JB Bickerstaff's favor. And I frankly just do not understand the decision to put the ball back in James Harden's hands. I'm going to type something out here. I got a tweet I got to fire out. So excuse me for 1 second as Cade Cunningham walks back. Jalen Duren, walks back to the line. The Cavs call timeout, 26.8 seconds, down by 8. Duren made both. Just a demoralizing loss. Guys, that's just another we said all day, I tweeted it out earlier, the Cavs cannot keep starting off so lethargic. They cannot keep starting the game down 10, 12 points. They were down 11 again tonight. It is the 5th consecutive game that Cleveland is trailed by double digits in the first half. And when you trail by that much that early, your margin of error for the rest of the game is razor thin. You basically have to play a perfect game for the next 36 minutes to come out with a victory. And the Cavaliers were able to do that in Game 5 against Toronto. They were able to do it in Game 7 against Toronto. They were unable to do it in Game 6. They were unable to do it in Game 1, and they appear to be unable to do it here in Game 2 on the road against Detroit. They've shown in both Games 1 and Games 2, they're able to climb back, get back into the mix as Max Strus misses a 3. Cade Cunningham gets fouled, getting the read. That's blouses. Game over. Final score, whatever, but the Detroit Pistons are going to win. The Cavaliers have shown the propensity and the ability to come back in these games. But once they come back, when it was tied 93-93 in Game 1, Detroit immediately went on an 8-0 run. Tonight, when the Cavs took the 83-81 lead, Detroit called a timeout, scored 2 buckets in a row. The Cavaliers jostled back and forth, but were never able to sustain that overall ability to draw a lead, hold a lead, and put the Detroit Pistons away. You traded for James Harden, and you traded Darius Garland away, and you traded DeAndre Hunter to Sacramento, and you assembled this roster with a bunch of veterans so that in these situations, when you get a lead late, you had the ability to put teams away. The Cavs are the more experienced postseason team. They're the more experienced team, not just in the postseason, but in overall NBA experience. There is no reason why the younger, less experienced Detroit Pistons should be the team that looks like it has more composure down the stretch than the more experienced Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs down 10, 20 seconds left. Harden to Mobley, step back 3, air ball. That's a rebound, and Detroit is going to dribble the clock out, end this game. 107-97, the final score. Another game that the Cavs are going to feel like they let slip out of their hands. And frankly, I'm not giving anyone a pass. I got to do one thing real quick. I just got to send a message to the UCSS chat, and then let's fire it off, because there's a lot of people that deserve a lot of blame for what happened tonight. A lot of people that deserve a lot of blame for this 0-2 hole. First and foremost, guys, James Harden was atrocious again tonight. He was worse tonight than he was in Game 1. Did he do better in terms of cutting down on turnovers? Yes. He had 4 turnovers, 3 of which came in the first half. The 4th came on that very last possession when the game was still in the balance, when the Cavaliers needed not just a good shot attempt, but a bucket, and Ausar Thompson picked his pocket and forced that turnover. He had 4 turnovers. He only had 3 made field goals. We talked about this stat in the show earlier. Tonight was the 30th time in James Harden's playoff career where he's had more turnovers than made field goals. 30 different times, more turnovers than made field goals. That is more than Jokic, Giannis, LeBron, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant combined. He has 30 of those games. The second most among active players is Russell Westbrook with 17. That is simply unacceptable from a player who the Cavaliers put in their biggest asset for. They traded Darius Garland so that Donovan Mitchell could have a running mate he can count on in the playoffs. And thus far in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Detroit Pistons, not only has James Harden been unreliable, but he's been a net negative for Cleveland. In his 36 minutes today on the court, the Cavs were a -11. In the minutes where Donovan Mitchell played, they were a net neutral, a 0, which means in the minutes where James Harden was on and Donovan Mitchell was off, was where Detroit did most of their damage. And I think it was, I don't think, I know, it is partly because James Harden is trying to play basketball like he did in 2018 when he was the MVP of the league, when he was the unquestioned best heliocentric pick and roll player in the entire NBA. He is no longer the 2018 version of James Harden. He's 36 years old. He doesn't move the same way. His jump shot's slightly declined. Still a very good passer, all in all, but he's not the MVP James Harden that we saw 10 years ago. No one should expect that. And when the Cavs traded for James Harden, they were acquiring a guy in their mind would be a 1B to Donovan Mitchell. Not a 1A. He was never supposed to be 1A. He was supposed to be a 1B. And during the regular season of the 30 or whatever games that James played with the Cleveland Cavaliers, you saw against certain teams, he had a little bit of struggles, but for the most part, his scoring was down, his passing was up. He was a maestro in the pick and roll. And Detroit and Toronto in these playoffs have basically said we are not going to allow that pocket pass in the pick and roll. James, if you're going to beat us, it's going to be as a scorer, and you're going to have to beat these super long, these super athletic, the much younger, the more explosive athletes that we are able to throw at you. It was Scotty Barnes in round 1, and it's been Ausar Thompson so far in round 2. And you saw James and Ausar jawing back and forth and getting chippy earlier. James understands the competition he's against. Ausar Thompson finished 3rd in the NBA Defensive Player of the Year voting. He is an absolute athletic alien freak, Megatron level defender. He's that good. And James trying to go one-on-one against him at this stage of his career is just not, it's not good basketball. It's not good offense. Not only is it not good for James Harden, but the rest of the Cavs are standing still, and it's making it even easier to send help defenses, to send traps, to pack the paint, clog the lanes, and make James's situation, which is just trying to get past Ausar Thompson as is, even more difficult because everyone's standing around playing James Harden's brand of basketball, and that is not working against this Detroit Pistons defense. And give Ausar Thompson a ton of credit, and give J.B. Bickerstaff a ton of credit, give Cade Cunningham a ton of credit, give all the guys, Ron Holland deserves credit, give Detroit and their entire organization a ton of credit for this defensive game plan they've put up against the Cavs in the first 2 games, which has completely negated the impact we saw James Harden have. Against Toronto, his scoring was down, his turnovers were high, but he was still able to decipher the defense, find open guys, and generate good offense when Donovan Mitchell was unable to provide the scoring punch he has. The Cavs were at their best offensively against Toronto in the first round when James Harden was the guy running this kind of heliocentric offense because he was able to make the right pass and get Toronto in rotation. Against this Detroit defense in round 2, they're not sending as much help. They're not running as much chaos. They're saying, James, if you're going to beat us, it is one-on-one. You got to get past Ausar Thompson. You got to get past Ron Holland. We're going to force you to keep that ball instead of making the pocket pass and the pick and roll. If you want to get in and try throwing up floaters, so be it. You're going to have to get over the outstretched hands of Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. If you do that, great. If not, we're going to live with you going one-on-one. And this version of James Harden is not the 2018 version of James Harden. It's not the 2020 version of James Harden. It ain't even the 2022 version of James Harden. This is a 36-year-old, 17th NBA season, 17th postseason version of James Harden, who just doesn't have the athletic burst, the lateral quickness, the shiftiness to get past some of these premier perimeter defenders that Toronto and Detroit have deployed on him in the first 9 games of the Cavs playoff run. He was bad tonight. Bad. There's no excusing it. James said after game 1, I have to be better in game 2. Instead of taking that step forward, he took a step back. We'll see what happens at home, but the Cavs are not beating Detroit. They're not winning 2 games in this series if James Harden continues to play like he has in these first 2 games. Giving Detroit a ton of credit, but James Harden missed a couple easy shots, and he's not seeing the floor. He's not operating in a way that is conducive to winning Cavaliers basketball right now. And if we're going to get on James Harden, I got to get on Kenny Atkinson too, because late in the game, in certain stretches, this is where you have to ride Donovan Mitchell basically until the wheels fall off. This was a must-win game. You don't want to go down 0-2 to a team that's the 1 seed. Yes, you're coming back home, but you don't want to go down 0-2. And Donovan played 37 minutes tonight. And that's it's 6 more minutes or another minute, whatever it was. It's not enough. And yeah, Donovan had a high usage rate. And yeah, Donovan probably needs some breaks. And maybe Donovan's hurt. And Donovan played well tonight. This was the best Donovan game we've seen since game 2 against Toronto. And I'm not taking anything. I thought Donovan played pretty well. He's got to make his threes. He does have to be a better 3-point shooter. Would like to see his playmaking go up a little bit. But he got to the line 9 times. He did have 31 points on decent efficiency. Decent, not great. This is not a Don game. Not a Don game But for Kenny, this is where I think you got to play him 40, 41, 42, 43 minutes. Like, this is why you conserve his energy in the regular season for moments like this, for games like this. Don said to me, to the media, anytime he had a chance in November, in December, in January, said, I am conserving my body for the playoffs. I am playing more of a finesse style. I'm not getting to the rim as much. I'm not dunking as much. I am conserving my body so when it comes playoff time, I don't wear down and they can count on me to ramp it up when needed in the playoffs. Don, it's the playoffs. And Kenny, it's the playoffs. And this is where you have to ride your best players, your superstars, as much as humanly possible, because you can count on them in games like this more than you can count on the ancillary role guys like Strus, Tyson, Keon Ellis, Tomlin, who didn't play much, Schroeder. I would have loved to see Donovan Mitchell play 42 minutes tonight. And maybe had he played 5 more minutes, it would have negated the single ball handler lineups where it was just James Harden, where the Detroit Pistons destroyed Cleveland. Maybe. Who knows? Would Donovan been as efficient had he played another 5 minutes? I don't know. I don't know that answer. It's a hypothetical that we'll never know the actual answer to. But these are the games that Donovan said he was saving up for. These are the games that you play your stars for. I'm going to pull up real quick. How many minutes did Tyrese Maxey play in game 2 last night? Does anyone know? If you know in the chat, put it up. I'm going to pull it up. But this is what I'm talking about. No Joel Embiid for the 76ers yesterday against the New York Knicks. No Joel Embiid. So what do? You play your starters more minutes. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm looking this up. I bet you. Yeah. Okay, you ready? Paul George played 43 minutes in game 2. Kelly Oubre played 40 minutes in game 2. Tyrese Maxey played 47 of 48 minutes. VJ Edgecombe played 40. They had 4 starters, the 76ers. They only played 8 guys in the whole game. They had 4 starters who played 40-plus minutes. Maxey, their best player, played 47. George, their second best player, played 43. Edgecombe, Oubre, all played 40. The Cavs had no one play more than 37 minutes. Jared Allen played 31. Mobley and Harden played 36. Don played 37. James is older. I get it. Fine. If he can't get up to 40, fine. But Donovan, Jarrett, I think you got to rely on those guys, play them bigger minutes, because what are you saving up for if you lose this series? Right? There's no tomorrow. No tomorrow. That's my critique. Kenny has not been great in the series. It is what it is. It's the reality of the situation. He's been outcoached thus far, but I don't think coaching is the only reason the Cavs have lost the first 2 games of the series. The Cavs got outshot from 3 today. I didn't think it was possible. The Cavs were 7 of 32 from 3. Detroit was 14 of 28. You can live with Detroit shooting 14 to 28. That's not, I mean, it's a good percentage, 50%, but on that volume, 14 threes, fine. So be it. So be it. But the Cavs, 7 for 32. I don't think Harden made a 3. He was 0 for 4. Donovan was 2 for 9. Mobley was 1 for 4. One of those was the late Chuck. He was really 1 for 3. Wade was 2 for 4. Schroeder was 0 for 2. Strus was 1 for 6. Tyson airballed 2 threes, and Keon Ellis made a 3. So you had Keon Ellis 101 from 3, Donovan 2 for 9, Mobley 1 of 3, and Dean Wade was their best 3-point shooter on the game at 2 for 4. Cavs aren't beating anybody if they start off down 10 and you're making 7 threes in a game. It's a recipe for disaster. And in a way, silver lining, I am not saying to take this. I give Detroit credit. Detroit deserves to be up 2-0. They've been the better team through 2 games. But the Cavs made 7 threes, were down double digits in the first quarter, and had a lead in the fourth quarter despite the fact they couldn't buy a bucket from 3. And there was a couple moments in this game, I made notes of it, where had the Cavs been able to make one more 3, it felt like it could have swung things. In the fourth quarter, about 4.5 minutes left, Cavs were down 3. Dennis Jenkins drove. Mobley got the block. In transition, Mobley wide open from the corner. If he makes that 3, it ties the game. Ties it up. And clanked it off the back iron. There was a play earlier in the first half. Back and forth. Cavs are making a run. It was a 4-point lead for Detroit. Dean Wade gets it on the wing. Great look. Clanked off the back iron. They had so many little opportunities throughout the game to seize momentum, to seize control, to seize a chance to put all the pressure on Detroit before the last 5 minutes. They just couldn't capitalize. They just could not capitalize when it mattered most. And it's disappointing. I fully thought the Cavs were going to win. I thought this series was going 6. I thought they'd split in Detroit. 1 win for Cleveland, 1 win for Detroit. I was wrong. Hand up. I apologize. Detroit's been the better team. Cleveland has yet to play good basketball in the first quarter or down the stretch of the fourth quarter in both games. Those are probably the 2 times you want to play your best basketball. Playing great in the second and third quarter means nothing if you're going to choke it away in the fourth, or if it means you're clawing back because the other team takes their foot off the gas for a second. When push has come to shove, Detroit has gotten more stops, has gotten better looks. And Cade Cunningham today, down the stretch, was awesome. Cade Cunningham was terrific down the stretch. He had 10 assists, 25 points. Cade Cunningham, by the way, played 42 minutes. JB Bickerstaff riding his best player in the biggest game when he needed it most. Was 7 of 14 from the floor, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Turned the ball over 5 times. When the ball's in his hands as much as it is, you live with those, live with some of those turnovers. Cade was awesome. The Cavs did a good job negating Durant. I didn't think his impact was all that vast. Duncan Robinson killed him again. 5 threes again for him. Tobias Harris has been good in this series. Dennis Jenkins, I thought, was the best player in the entire first half for either team. And you look at the other guys. Ausar Thompson, solid. Duncan Robinson, good. Tobias Harris, good. Dennis Jenkins, good. You got 4 guys outside of your star who played well. You had Donovan, who played well tonight. Evan Mobley had 1 rebound in 36 minutes. He had 9 points and 4 assists. 3 steals, 3 blocks. He was really good defensively, but only 1 rebound. That's it. Unacceptable. Unacceptable from a 7-footer who plays 36 minutes. It is. I'm sorry, it is. And the Cavs only lost the rebounding battle today by 6. It's not like they got destroyed on the glass. A couple of those came late. Like the rebounding battle was pretty even. But 1 rebound from your big is just unacceptable. So Donovan played well. Jared Allen played well. That's it, right? Like, that's it. So you take Donovan, Cade, negate him, right? Best player, negate him. The Pistons had 4 other guys who I think you could say played what you expected, if not better, or better than expected. The Cavs had 1. That's the difference, guys. That's the difference. We can complain about Kenny's rotations, some of the ATOs, the substitution patterns. All that stuff's valid. Kenny ain't out there shooting 1 for 6 from 3. Kenny ain't out there shooting 7 of 32 from 3. Kenny ain't out there grabbing 1 rebound in 36 minutes of action. This has not been a good series for Kenny Atkinson, and I am not trying to defend him, but this is, in my opinion, this is on the players. This is on James Harden being an absolute shell of the James Harden the Cavs need him to be. This is on Evan Mobley putting up a tour date. He has a September 1st tour date. 9-1, guys. What are you doing on 9-1? September 1st. We going to the Evan Mobley no-show concert? Because that's what happened tonight. He put up an NBA tour date. Dean Wade, 8 points, 5 boards, good defense. Actually, if you want to count Dean in the plate above average, then so be it. But Max Strus, 3 points, 1 of 6. He did have 2 blocks. Tyson airballed his 2 open threes. I thought he had good energy early, but when they needed him to make shots late, was nowhere to be found. Schroeder, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, but missed a couple shots that the Cavs needed him to make late in the stretch. They went to a Dennis Schroeder ISO at one point that I thought was a bit of a questionable decision when Donovan, was cooking in the way he was. But outside of Donovan, the Cavs really struggled to score tonight. Don and Allen combined for 53 of the 97 points. That's it. 53 of the 97 from those two. Nobody else did anything. Allen got 10 free throw attempts. Donovan had 9 free throw attempts. The Cavs outshot the Pistons from the free throw line, 27-20 in overall free throw attempts, 22-15 in the make department. They won 7. They won by 7 in the free throw department. The issue is they lost. They lost by 21 from beyond the arc. In what world do the Cavs lose to the Pistons in the 3-point battle? Makes no sense. The Cavs had 11 turnovers in the game. They had 6 in the first quarter. They had 5 the rest of the way. No surprise. They were down double digits in the first quarter. When they stopped turning the basketball over, they go on a run. No surprise there. The Cavs had 52 points in the paint. Detroit only had 42 points off turnovers. Detroit had 14. Cleveland had 10. The Cavs only had 4 fast break points. Would love to see them get out and run a little more if possible. When you get those defensive rebounds, push the ball up the court. But this is a frustrating loss. Don played well. Allen played well. I think everyone else. And you can even throw Dean in that category if you really want to. Dean played solid. I wouldn't say well, but he played solid. Outside of those 2.5, nobody gets a passing grade. I said it before. I'll say it again. I've been talking for 30 minutes now. James Harden laid a big fat egg. I said it before, I'll say it one more time. This is his 30th career playoff game with more turnovers than field goals. 30th, 3-0. It's hard to do. The Pistons were awesome down the stretch. They get a lot of credit. If it feels like I'm not giving them enough credit, it's because we're the Ultimate Cavs show, not the Ultimate Pistons show. Detroit, I'm sure they're giving them all the credit. I'm not taking anything away from them. We're just not here to give Detroit credit. It was a terrible James Harden game, a disappointing Evan Mobley performance. The bench gave you almost nothing. And if Donovan didn't go old school Donovan and make a ton of tough floaters, a ton of tough layups, a ton of tough shots in general, the Cavs don't make a comeback. They never take the lead, and the Cavs lose by 15 or 16 points. I don't know how else to say it. The Cavs lost the first quarter by 7 points, the second quarter by 4. They won the third quarter by 7 and lost the fourth quarter by 6. They went on that run middle of the second quarter all the way through the third, even to the beginning parts of the fourth, where they played their brand of basketball. The ball was in Donovan's hands. James was on the bench for part of it. Ausar Thompson had just picked up his 4th foul. That was when Cleveland went on a run. And as soon as everything went back to normal, the Cavs cratered. Some quick thoughts on adjustments for Game 3. You better start the game with the intensity you finished with. If I have to sit through another slow, lethargic start from this team, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's a question I'm going to try asking Kenny Atkinson before Game 3. Obviously, I'm not there on the road. I'm sitting in my apartment. But the question I'm going to try asking him is, Kenny, what do you have to do to get this team to play with more intensity, to play with more conviction, to play smarter, to play faster from the get-go? Why does it take being down 10 to awaken this team? We'll see what he says. But that's the first place you have to start. Second, I think you have to go back to letting Donovan be your primary creator and find ways to use James as a decoy. I know somebody hasn't done much of his career, but I just don't like the James Harden versus Ausar Thompson or Ron Holland or Cade Cunningham matchup in this series. I think so far through 2 games, he's given me no confidence that he can consistently beat those guys off the dribble and generate good offense for himself or his teammates. He hasn't. It's just he hasn't happened yet. Maybe he proves me wrong in Game 3, but I'm going off what my eyes have told me in the first 96 minutes of basketball in this series. I don't see it. And third and fourth, and I guess lastly, I thought the Cavs' defense was pretty good. They scrapped the drop coverage. They held Cade in check till the end. But when they needed stops down the stretch, they weren't able to get it. I think part of that is they stopped making shots. They let their defense be impacted by that. And that can't happen, right? Like, you're going to miss shots. It's going to happen. It's basketball. Teams get hot. Teams get cold. It happens all the time. But you cannot let that impact your defensive intensity and your ability to rebound, box out, and end defensive possessions. And I thought the Cavs let missed shots impact their defensive intensity late, and eventually it did them dirty, and it did them in. And that's why they're facing an 0-2 hole with Game 3 on Saturday and Game 4 on Monday. Absolute must-win situations. I said before today's game, we said it on UCSS, if the Cavs won tonight, I would have said that my percentage chance of them winning the series was like 62. If they lost, I was going to drop it about 18. It's around 18, 20%. I don't think they're dead. I don't think it's over. The fat lady ain't singing yet. But I have a hard time telling you guys that I'm confident in this team's ability to make a comeback when I don't even feel confident in their ability to start off a first quarter with the necessary intensity, conviction, passion, whatever arbitrary word you want to use, that this team needs to not fall into a double-digit deficit for the 6th straight game. I can't sit here and tell you that's the case. I'll watch the film tomorrow. I'm on the panel tomorrow, so we'll talk about this game at length. But I don't know how to say this other than it was a bad James Harden game. And if you got anything from James, I think the Cavs end up winning this one. The reality is they didn't, and they still almost had enough. So if you're looking for a silver lining, there it is. The Cavs didn't play well, and they got good games from 2 guys, and they still had a chance to win late. Detroit was the better team. Detroit deserved to win this game. Detroit deserves to be up 2-0, and Cade Cunningham was the best player in the second half. Dennis Jenkins was the best player in the first half. It was good to see Don get back to being Don. They need that again in Game 3. He might be hurt. I saw him grab his hammy at one point. I hope he's not hurt. That would be the 3rd postseason in a row where Donovan gets hurt in the playoffs and derails any chance of a Cavs deep playoff push. He was really good tonight. They're going to need another really good performance in Game 3, another really good performance in Game 4, and 2 more really good performances between Games 5, 6, and 7 in order to pull off this series. But if I was Kenny Atkinson, I'm going into Game 3 saying, James, you're playing second fiddle to Donovan. This whole experiment of you implementing your system into what we do, nah. Scrap that. It is Donovan's time to shine. And if that means more Donovan ISOs, then so be it. Because right now, Donovan at least has shown the propensity to get into the paint and finish, and James simply hasn't. 30th game tonight with more turnovers than field goals made in the playoffs. It just can't happen. We'll be back on UCSS tomorrow over at that. Let me see any super chats. 12 super chats. I'm going to look at this real quick. Zook said this team is soft. No offensive sets run. Back to the Harden, Mitchell. They run some offense, especially in the Donovan units. It's when James is in where they get way too stagnant and they run nothing. Barbara FN says, I really don't understand what we do in these games. Why is Allen getting any run? I'm done defending Mobley. Get him gone. Kenny on the hot seat. Cavs in 6. Kenny's definitely on the hot seat. Allen was good tonight. What do you mean Allen? Why is he getting? Allen was good tonight. He was their second best player. Albus Square says, respectfully, I don't know why teams continue to try and trust Harden in the playoffs. Rahul Ganesh says, everyone in their heart knows you cannot win with Harden. We have 15 years of evidence. Not a good trade. Let's take the Cleveland tinted glasses off. Jalen Varese says, Tyvus might have been right about Drew over Harden. Drew is not good in the playoff series against San Antonio. So Harden isn't bad, but I don't think Drew is any better. But honestly, you know what? Drew can't play worse than Harden has at the moment. So maybe by default. Thomas Rugula says, Cavs are poorly coached. Average team. Our expectations are just too high. The project is dying. Jeremy says, with recent rumors coming out, does a Mobley trade for Giannis sound better than a Garland for Harden trade? Garland didn't turn the ball over like this. We're going to talk about the Giannis stuff tomorrow. Rahul Ganesh says, Mike, even worse stat, there are 15 more instances where field goal made equals turnover. So 45 games where he's been bad. He's the only Hall of Famer you cannot win with. I mean, there are other Hall of Famers that never won. Malone, Stockton are guys, also 17 straight playoff seasons to start their career, who never won. So I don't know if it's just him, but yeah, it's a stain he has to wear. Young Yogi says, I'm so glad we're being shown the limitations of the teams clearly so we can move on. This team is simply not good enough. The problem is I don't know what you do to improve the roster. If they lose this series, it's getting blown up. Like, it's getting blown up. What that exactly looks like, we'll discuss in the offseason, but there's no way you run this back if this team loses again in the second round, especially if they get swept. Aggie Fury says, Dennis, I'm over Schroeder, James, hardly Harden. Barbara Events is also, we can stop going down 10 in the first 5. That'd be super cool. When was the last time we won the first quarter? Yeah, it was game 2 versus Toronto. I believe that's it. I think actually they won the first quarter in game 4, but then got down. Yeah, I think they won the first quarter in game 4 too, but it doesn't matter. They've been down double digits in 5 straight playoff games. Aggie Fury says, Kenny needs to put in every young gun on the bench. He has every trash rotation, but the right one. Put the youngins in and see what they get. I don't know if I agree with that. Jalen Tyson airballed 2 threes today. The moment looked too big for him. I hope he bounces back. I thought he had some good moments early. I really did. I thought he had some good moments early. Then down the stretch when they needed him most, he had 2 airballs. Young guys, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't loved Kenny's rotations either for what it's worth, but I also don't know. He's got some limited options, and they need the size against this Detroit team. And you have to make the decision. You traded size for shooting, and right now they have not found that proper balance. But we'll dive into this more tomorrow on UCSS. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. The Cavs are down 0-2. This is a miserable, miserable time to be a Cavs fan. And hopefully, they figure things out for game 3. We'll see you then. Peace.